will press the button.
Welcome back to, well, if you were expecting Exalted Essence, you're kind of getting it today. Today is going to be a bit of an experiment on my end, as I had an idea, and several players have had some stuff come up this week, and general plot stuff would not be able to go forward without everybody, low energy, holidays, things like that. So I decided, why don't I do something a little different? Why don't I do a shift of how I present this? So this week, instead of following the Hearth of the Crimes of Nature, or the Riftward Hearth, or whatever official name that they're deciding on using this week, we're going to zoom out the camera and we're going to look elsewhere at the adventures of a different group. A group that is about to have a very bad time. We're going to be looking at the Strange Fire Area's expedition to the Underworld, and how that's going to end in horrible death. After the invitations and discussion by Vinif Milan to Mandala Crushing Smile to why don't you go up north and poke your new neighbor and make a nice story out of it, Mandala Crushing Smile collected the most able and minded and powerful of the retainers and decided to go out and strike the earth. The very deep earth, the under earth, actually. So, we will be witnessing, in camera rather than off to the side, exactly how this goes wrong for them. This is going to be intended to be a preview of these oppositions that the Hearth will face, and a way of letting me demonstrate very lethal, unfair things without actually sucker punching the actual player characters. So, let us switch the map from the 100 Kingdoms to the current state of the expedition into the Underworld. Let me just double check which map it is. Yep, that one. Okay.
Someone begin the timer to the TPK, please, starting now.
We arrive within the Underworld after traversing the ley lines that have been so aggressively sucked inward into the Underworld. It did not take much effort from the Fae themselves to actually go into the Underworld. All they had to do was follow the stolen energy from their own domain, and then go down, and they didn't need to use a Shadowland, because they had Fae magic, basically. There are ways Fae can slip between the cracks of the world. So, all they really had to do was just kind of an off-screen montage of travel, and now they are here, and this is their expertise and their most, valued and powerful cartographers' attempt to sketch out the scouting of their commoners, of the threats of the area and the general layout around the domain in the Underworld. Why did you steal the ghost from my daughter's Etch-a-Sketch? Look, I have an aesthetic, and I'm going for it. So yes, the little smiley dwarf fortress icon at the bottom is the current position of the 7 party members. The 7 party members are, briefly, as follows. Mandala Crushing Smile, who has been introduced. The Incanter of the 12 Courteous Screams, who is normally the diplomat to other Fae courts, but being stuck in a domain that has next to no connection to the wild, they have been left to pursue their actual passion. What's the difference between music and noise? Humans don't agree on that, so clearly I can solve this problem. The role of Incanter will be played today by Crumb.
Hello.
The next up of the player-controlled ones is the Fair Judge. If the judge in Ace Attorney games was also a Dwarf Fortress Hammerer with impulse control problems, that would be this Raksha. They are the source of most violent conflict within the Freehold, which encourages the Fae nobility to keep using them as a mediator for the more boring conflicts. That will be played today by Bradway.
Guilty.
Next up, played by a Raving Loon, is the Iron Killer. an unbelievably, ridiculously, absolutely impossibly boastful title, Iron Killer insists their name means that they can kill both other Raksha with iron, and also kill the concept of iron itself. Iron Killer is allowed to believe they are the head of the Freehold's military, what there is of it, and is mostly spends their time threatening small gods and fire dust miners. If they even got into a duel with a Prince of the Earth that was fresh off Exaltation, they would probably have a bruised ego and an eternal oath of vengeance. They're going to have a very bad day down here. Next up, played by Sonobozu, is, and I apologize in advance, but the name generator gave me the perfect opportunity here, Wildcat Strike. They find fulfillment in complicating everybody else's schemes, forming dissent among commoners, agitating for upheaval, and not really caring what you're actually interrupting and screwing with. They don't even mind if they get killed in the narrative sense of the Fae, because then they can just come back and do it again.
So you see why I chose that.
Yep. There are other NPC control ones, which are the Blade Pondering Sage, who, to quote my notes, is the closest thing to a Forge Master in the Freehold, but all of their work is cheerfully defiant of all reasonable definitions of anything. Why can't a sword be a 20-foot-long blowpipe that shoots ballista bolts? Who says cylinders can't be sharp on their entire surface at once? Armor is a social construct. Hold still and let me pour this molten dream on you. And then the final Mason. I will know the shapes. I will understand the shapes. I will command the shapes. Be beyond the shapes. Be unmolded by shapes. I will make the final shape and crush all shapes beneath it. What the hell is Destiny 2? I've never heard of it. So, now that we have been introduced to the quick pitch of our doomed cast, they are currently being led, nominally, by Mandala Crushing Smile, but Mandala Crushing Smile is also narratively a construct that I control, and it is more interesting to let players also have a say in where we are going and what we are confronting. So, looking at the map, I can give you a vague, very, very vague estimation of what the commoners were able to report in the areas. Over here looked like a big army of skeletons. The stuff inside people's bodies is walking around with weapons and stuff, and there's a lot of them. The commoners didn't really know how to count past however many limbs and digits they had, but it was a lot more than that, like a lot more than that. There are a lot of them out here. Vaguely look like they were doing training exercises or patrols. This here is some sort of fort or checkpoint outside of the manse itself. It seemed to be relatively well manned and well guarded, and it is basically at a point where you cannot follow the roads and not be going through or past the fort. Over here are a bunch of, well, upon research, I think the humans call them ghosts, except these ghosts seem to have problems. They're all, like, really kind of twisted looking. They look like they had been in the wild too long, and they were kind of chewing on each other, and they just really didn't look like they were having a good day. They kind of look mad, like really mad. It's weird. You would think that the ghosts would be sad that they're dead, not, like, eating the ground and violently attacking each other and moving in packs like wild animals. That sounds like some sort of weird nonsense that humans shouldn't be doing, but hey, who knows how humans work. Over here is something big, something scary, something loud, and they ran away screaming because they did not want any of it. All they know over there is just that place sucks and we don't want to go over here. Up here was reports of what looked like people, except they had really long claws, sharp teeth, scales, big bouncy legs, and honestly, we're not sure they're actually people. They just kind of had the same shape. They didn't even really look like ghosts. It just kind of seemed like they weren't around here at all. They just kind of got lost and ended up down here. And then over here, the best description that they were able to give is some sort of giant turtle toad thing that had a really big metal barrel coming out of it that was smoking and really hot. And that is the best that they could give you. And to actually focus on the manse itself, they were not able to get close, and any of the commoners that were forced to get close and try to examine it, never came back. At all. So you don't really know what's going on in the actual vicinity of the manse. What you can see from a distance is that it is a large octagonal building, kind of built like a short pagoda, that is likely extended down underground and has two individual thinner spires coming up off top of it, kind of angled like a tuning fork. The main the main entrance point appears to be a straight road to the northeast. So, the question remains to the Fae, what is the most interesting way of approaching this problem?
Well, I've never been on one of these raids before, but I think we should check in at the checkpoint right away to establish our, sensibilities as we're going to be attacking them and horribly mutilating them.
Alright, that's one vote for just going up to the fort.
What do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. We can kick down a door.
Iron Killer is standing a good ways off to the side of everyone else, glaring down at the field of skeletons, growling and rattling. Picturing the general, most prominent feature of Iron Killer's appearance is just having rings everywhere in every conceivable form that are just constantly clattering and rattling and throwing off sparks whenever poses occur.
Yes.
He does a lot of posing and posturing and makes very punctuated Foley art noises around everything that he does.
So exactly
Good.
like Polnareff then? Good.
Yes.
Good, excellent, perfect, amazing.
I'm trying to imagine the kind of cat Wildcat is, but for right now, it's just... You know that bug in Cyberpunk where you look away and then you look back at traffic and the cars are all different?
Yes.
It's just that, but a different house cat every time.
Yeah, cause that is exactly how the Fae would work. It's just, that's what a cat looks like, right? Wait, no, like this. No, more like this? I don't know.
Whenever Wildcat occludes for too long, it's just a different cat.
Just a very cursed distant cousin of Moat, except instead of superposition, it's super being something else.
How big is Wildcat?
That is up
How'd
to
they get the
some.
Daggy Rat in Elder Scrolls? The house cats. Motherfuckers.
Probably need a thigh high, I'd say, if I
I'm
remember.
trying to remember, yeah. Not small, but not big.
Yeah,
Like an average dog. A dog that could sit in your
Okay.
lap if it felt like it.
yeah.
So kind of like a border collie-ish.
Yeah,
Sure.
probably the size of, a working dog, except it's a house cat with weird proportions.
Sure.
Actually, no, I have a better idea. What's the
Oh.
quest? What's the Covenant Giver in Dark Souls 1? That's just the cat that's on God.
Oh god, I don't remember her name, but yeah, the
But
one
yeah,
in the
that
forest.
exact side, basically.
That exact look, that exact mouth. Good, yes.
The mouth is the
Chief
only
cat.
constant.
Yeah, you probably got that by looking at Mandala Crushing Smile and going, that's a good aesthetic, I'm taking that.
I made this.
Cantor currently is a very rotund-looking individual, maybe about 6.5 feet tall, with a huge cloak over itself for the moment. But every so often when a Cantor moves, you hear kind of a weird sighing, squeezing, compressing noise. It's perfectly fine.
It's totally normal.
The arrogance of these bone-like creatures. Thinking that by removing their flesh preemptively, they can prevent Iron Killer, from making them bleed.
I think they all have iron weapons. Do you want to go kill those?
actually, hang on. Both Sage and Mason are NPCs right now. So, yeah, anyone who would be able to identify whether or not that's iron is in my hands. So, one sec.
What? We gave the 2 craftsmen to the DM? Oops.
Oh, that's a botch! Yeah, that's totally iron. Go get him! So now
There's
the
just kind of
choice
the sonorous clang of fist being brought into open palm of other hand. I had nearly allowed myself to forget that I had given you permission to follow in my wake.
All right, so
But as I have,
the initial wandering out towards the fort, immediately everybody, like, again, the sheer power narratively of the 2 craftsmen getting together, trying to examine from a distance, what is that? What shape is that? And just kind of busting out this big book that they are pulling way too many pages out of and trying to examine. All right, no, that can't be mercury. It's too solid. Is that what is that? Is that lead? Might be lead. No. It's got some red stuff on it. Iron has red stuff on it. Yeah. They call that what? Rust? Yeah. That's probably iron. Let's go get. Yeah. Let's go get him. We got the guy who can kill iron. We can go see that. So immediately just deviate straight off the path towards the army of skeletons. So I am going to say for Incanter, please roll Blending In, which is your 3 pool.
Oh, don't worry, I'm throwing off the cape.
Okay, so you're just taking
The
a
cape
no.
comes off, and as Incanter straightens up to their full height of 8.5 feet, because of course they're massive, their body is shaped like a giant accordion, and every time they move, the dulcet, beautiful sounds of an accordion, which I will not make right now because I don't hate all of you, just spring forth throughout the lands as the Incanter begins to sing, No Say. She packed my bags last night. Pre-flight. 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite. And we continue.
This is the worst idea I've ever had, and I'm so happy.
When you look back at Wildcat, they are trying to dig under a fence like a dog. I don't know where the fence came from or why they are doing this.
gonna go ahead and throw my 3 dice of threat assessment to determine the degree to which Iron Killer does or does not understand. Iron Killer is extremely confident in his matchup against an infinite number of skeletons.
Honestly, you could probably just get in there and start flexing, and they would all fall apart, and the iron would explode. You're good. It's fine. Oh, Dicebot, you know what today is.
So the other 2 craftsmen are our backup
So,
characters when we die, right?
So Wildcat's actually going to saunter up to Iron Killer now. And what's the most auspicious, like, if you get into a fight, you will win, like, blessing that someone would mistake? You know, just, like, reinforce the notion of, like, yeah, it's a good idea. Oh, yeah, no. Wildcat fucking bites a crow mid-flight. That's auspicious as hell, right?
Yeah, you find a underworld Rhyton and bite it, and let me just say, hey, either pick redirect consequences or avoid consequences for what you just did.
Avoid consequences.
Of course.
Why would I care about Iron Killer? I just want to fucking vibe.
So yeah, that'll be your 3 dice pool.
Alright. So roll 3.
The pools are 7, 5, and 3.
8, 5, 3.
8, 5, 3.
For good, okay, bad. Alright, so you are personally able to realize, actually, this blood tastes funny. I'm gonna spit this out of my mouth. I don't want this in my mouth. But the moment that the bloody Rhyton hits the ground, the entire group of skeletons turns around like they have smelled the blood the instant that it has left the body of the bird. Just immediate, like the scene in Metal Gear 2 where they just all turn around in the briefing room, just like, bring! They're not looking at Wildcat, though. They're looking at Iron Killer.
Somehow, Fair Judge has not already run off to go hit the skeletons.
Alright, so
Skeletons can smell shit.
I will say in advance how this is going to work, is that instead of tracking health levels and combat and things like that, every character has 3 strikes. When I give a strike, your dice pools are downgraded. Your good pool becomes your okay pool becomes your bad pool, and you can't roll your bad pool. Second strike, you can only roll your bad pool. Third strike, you die.
Okay.
The music has cut out.
It should still be playing on my end.
There we go.
Is it cut out again now that I tab
It's
out?
back.
It's
Hmm?
gone. You're
Okay,
good.
so... Alright, so... The situation as it stands is that a very large army of skeletons that now you can estimate that's probably 1, 2, 3, 4 thousand, 2,000.
It's more than 73, which is the number of limbs our scouts had.
Yes. That's a lot. That is a lot. That is a sizable army, even by Fae standards of being able to just raise armies out of the damn ground. Are now all looking at you and being very kind of confused, but also angry and now bloodthirsty.
Oh, let's get in.
Alright, so for the combat characters, roll your pool of how good you are at combat. And for those who don't want to get involved, roll me a pool to not get involved.
Cantor reaches into the folds of the cloak that's still on their back, it's fine, and pulls out a double guitar and begins to strum the guitar as they sing, and the sound and the sonar waves begin to pulse towards the skeletons.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
None of you are free of sin.
Guilty. Judge is just... Every time he's smacking a skeleton, he is declaring them guilty.
I want to go find a nice bush to sniff.
Yeah, let's just call that redirecting consequences. So, oh, well, no, that's a botch. Never mind. I'm letting that one stand. So, Cantor has 1.
Actually, with that in mind, alright, so. Iron Killer, has decided he knows the exact quantity of opposition here. Exactly 1 waste of his time. He's going to pose, posture, make a lot of noise, and particularly when any skeletons start to move towards Wildcat, just kind of give a bit of a, hey, I'm over here.
Alright, let's see how this goes for everybody. Alright,
With a threaten roll.
So, Encanter does not really get much attention their way. There is just, it's noise. It's annoying noises. The Judge and Iron Killer... Judge is actually doing all of the killing of the skeletons at this point. Iron Killer is basically drawing their attention away from everyone else by being loud, boastful, hooting and hollering, and thinking, all of them are falling down because of my immaculate, incredible presence, while Judge is just kind of going around smashing them like whack-a-mole.
I am told that humans are supposed to have skin. You do not have skin. That is against the law. You are guilty.
Banned. So
Skeleton
yeah.
is forbidden.
Uh,
The export of bones is prohibited.
So, after a period of time and a large number of skeletons actually smashed, they all kind of just stand rigid for a moment, like staring off into space before turning around on their heels and not running away so much as just very casually, normal March speed walking away. They're
Hey,
just
no
like,
loitering. That's against the law. Get back here.
yeah, the impression is that they have all just gotten orders of just go away. Just leave them alone. This is not your problem. Now, with that botch from Yang, however, I can look into a second thing that is
Who?
going to happen. The botch from Wildcat. As Wildcat is sniffing around at a bush.
Can I offer a suggestion?
Absolutely. If you all
I
want to
would
give
like the
suggestions.
skeleton of a snake to come out and bite me.
Okay, yes. I actually have something akin to that I was planning on. So yes, as Wildcat is sniffing at the bush and just generally vibing, inside there is a corpse of something. And as Wildcat is sniffing it, it's like, wait a minute, no, this isn't like the weird static. Nothing is like. There's a distinct smell difference also all of a sudden between the skeletons, which smell like the underworld itself, very stagnant, even more so than the creation shapes. They are just kind of like almost nothing. This is like, wait, no, hold up. This is creation meat. This is corpse meat. This is, why is the meat making a hissing noise?
The fuck are you doing here?
Why is the meat getting bigger? Why is the meat getting hot? Oh god! Boom! As a corpse landmine goes off, and Wildcat is sent flying 20 feet into the air. You now have one strike.
When I inevitably crater into the floor, I'm going to stand up and indignantly look at this is on purpose.
I try to order the skeletons to come back. No, never mind. I'm just gonna try to order the skeletons to come back. You meet the bones.
Yeah, there's the Fae mindset of wait, no, I am.
I don't know who gave you an order, but by the decree of the Fae and of my name and canter of something I've already forgotten, you're going to turn around and come back here right now because we are not done smashing you. So stop it and turn around now.
All right, go ahead and roll your
Hey, politics.
yeah, let's go Fae politics on that with a stunt.
Oh, with a stunt? Let me add another
Yeah.
2 onto that. The 5.
All right, so they kind of stop again, turn around, look at you, and then visibly look at you, look up at the sky, look down at the ground, look over to the manse, look back at you, back at the manse, back at you, back at the manse, back at you, back at the manse, back at you. Several of them begin to fall apart until the skeletons all just start grabbing their own heads and then stop. And then one of them at the front just points at the Fae and then points at the fortress before turning to walk off again.
Would you like to show us the way to the fortress? We could use a guide. I pick you. I call you Henry, sir.
The skeleton stops, and the Fae, it is lost upon. But for the audience, it is visible that the skeleton just has a slumping of the shoulders of like, come on.
The judge has already taken his colossal hammer and is running off in the direction of the fort without the rest of the group.
The skeleton, now having received more direct orders, turns around and just marches silently, sullenly, having dropped its weapon towards the fort in the front of the Fae.
Thank you, Henry. They will sing, I will sing songs of your valor and courage as the century, how long do you live? I don't care. As the centuries go on.
It has
here.
its finger bones in its ear holes.
You can still hear me. I can see that your bones are vibrating. Don't even try to stop this.
So, as these fair are approaching the fort, oh god, yeah, no, fair judge. That is not a botch, but fair judge. Let me look at your other pools.
That was a patience roll.
Yeah, no, you have charged out way out in front. And roll me 2 specific different rolls. One is threaten with authority, so your 5 pool, and then recognize falsehoods, so your 3 pool. Okay. Everything seems completely legitimate, normal, up to date, and I mean, shapes do this. Yeah, this is fine. This looks like a normal fort. Forts do this.
It has a wall. It has a gate. That is a legal fort.
Threaten, meanwhile, as you run up, basically you raise your hammer and just start screaming and hollering in vague, legalistic terms that sound important. And these undead manning the walls look like actual shades of ghosts, like more self-animated rather than the puppeteered and controlled skeletons. They look down in absolute confusion before turning to each other and discussing around, like, just, what? They're just kind of muttering to themselves out of earshot before walking to the gate as they see the rest of the group approaching and just pulling the lever to open the gate, just like, I mean, okay, alright. So, the judge runs immediately into the gate, at which point, roll me one more time, recognize falsehoods.
No.
Alright, so, you as well step on something that is, wait, that's not rocks. That's decidedly squishier than rocks. That is meat?
Hey.
Does meat usually make that? What is that noise? Oh god. Oh god! Boom! And the rest of the Fae see the judge, 20 feet in the air, spinning wildly, now missing a foot. Just kind of soaring
All
into
you
the sky.
all you can really see is just a hammer spinning through the air at this point. Very rapidly.
And crashes down to the ground, and the hammer misses, landing on the judge's head by about an inch.
Meat's supposed to go in the kitchen, not the ground. This is wrong. This is illegal. Someone arrest that man.
Henry, arrest that man.
The skeleton looks at the crater before looking at the incanter with a visible look of, which one? Who?
You arrest the ground right now. Do it.
Looks over to the manse, stops, listens, stares a little longer at the manse, turns around, walks up to the crater, and just kind of sits down in it.
Thank you, Henry. You hold down the fort here. We'll take care of that fort there.
Just very slow, begrudging thumbs up in your direction as it lays down in the crater. Just kind of just sitting there. The Fae file into the
Tell us
fortress.
a story.
The Fae file into the fortress, at which point the rest of the ghosts on the tower walls come back and just kind of are leaning down, weapons drawn but not readied, like arrows, spears, javelins, etc. As obviously a commander of some form, out of character, an emissary, obviously, some ghost that is able to control its own body, as it is covered in meat for once, but just comes out of the inside of the fort in relatively impressive, does iron normally scream? Does iron normally have faces in the... it might do that. Nobody says it can't do that. Covered in screaming iron. Yeah, let's go with that. Just comes out and stares at the group just before saying, to what do we owe the honor?
How many of them are there?
On the walls and currently in weapons, probably 30 or 40 aiming at you, and then the one speaking with you, and however many more you know inside.
Well, as our good friend Henry, who's arresting the ground over there, told us, this is the place we need to go in order to present ourselves. We are Fae, and we are here to. You're all dead. We can't kill you. Are you dead? Are you alive? Can we get the answer on that? We need to kill everyone here.
The commander just makes a exhaling noise. So you're okay. What? There is a visible gears turning in the commander's head moment. How well do you know how to handle this situation, Commander? Decently well. Commander very just gently clasps hands together in front of chest in a vague prayer motion. What is it that you seek here? What is it that you want to acquire?
Music. And Cantor reaches further into the ropes and pulls out a pair of maracas, shakes them twice, and then chucks it at the commander's head. Be gone, beast!
Oh god, okay.
We'll roll a weaponized music check after that one. 2.
Let me see if I can Foley this. The maracas just kind of bounce cleanly off of the metal as the commander keeps staring. What did we do to deserve this? Regardless, if you were
Well,
looking...
sir, in accordance to
God.
the laws of and
As the judge is going, they just mutter to themselves, "Oh God, I didn't."
and what it comes down to is you're illegally squatting.
Oh, you want to see our property rights, our release to the land? Then, yes, sir, Judge.
Yes, I need
Well,
some proof. So someone give me the court documents.
Well, absolutely. If you just take the road to the northeast, and you take the road and you bend it north, and then you'll have a road that is going towards the southwest, towards the, gesticulates behind to the immense blasted manse behind. You'll find the gates to that, and if you knock politely on the door, I'm sure they'll let you in and speak with the owner, and they'll show you all the relevant documentation for the correct and noble and entirely legal occupation of this territory.
So, just go there?
Yes, away from here.
Good. You, bring me the witness. And Judge is pointing at just a random skeleton. Bailiff, go.
Henry just gets back up, and while the judge is just gesticulating around for grabbing the witness, again turns to the manse to listen and think, and then when the judge is turned around, just picks up a rock and carves 2 eye holes into it, and then holds it up to the judge.
Perfect. Good. Put this man on the stand.
Puts it on own head.
Judge sits down and waits for the prosecution to begin.
Skeleton, Mandala crushing a smile at this point, steps in. Let us assemble more of the court before we begin session. It sounds like the occupation of the manse to the north is where most of the relevant evidence will be found, Judge.
Yes, of course. We must first complete evidence gathering.
Of course. Now, if you will just follow me. And the Mandala crushing smile just kind of gives a shit-eating "you owe me" grin to the commander, who responds with just a stone-faced, let's see you follow up on that. Heading back out, and now out this way. Iron Killer. Roll me threat assessment again.
As we're leaving, Encanter walks over and picks up his 2 maracas.
Iron Killer has recognized something.
So, off to the southeast-ish, in the general direction of the spooky ghost on the drawing of the map, you notice that maybe the drawing was underselling it a little bit, as was the commoner's reports. You see what looked to be a bunch of incredibly ravenous humans just kind of moving around in swarms, almost like fey commoners. The same sort of level of mindless swarming group behavior, but it doesn't look like they have anybody directly commanding them right now. And if there were a lot of skeletons, there's at least, 5 or 10 more times the hungry ghosts on the plains out here. There are tens of thousands, actually, and Iron Killer is not sure why they're actually out here, but clearly there's something that has their interest, or maybe they're just looking for food? Maybe they just came here and got stuck? Who knows?
If these are extras without direction, then they need someone to take command of the scene.
Yes!
Iron Killer will abruptly turn and stride off of the trail into the midst of the ghosts, and as one of them, ghost twists up and probably bends over backwards to, take a look at him with the spooky ghost eyes. They'll just kind of give him a slap on the nose.
It appears that this ghost has never been slapped before and does not know how to process this emotion. It's violence, but not very dangerous violence. What? So, yeah, roll threaten with a stunt.
Excellent.
Oh, if that had botched, I may have given you 2 strikes on the spot. I'm just gonna say with that many ones. But the hungry ghost...
Iron was getting ready to, give a speech to this loser and try to drag them into his orbit as a lackey. But he's just completely unable to get into the right... But the ghost doesn't have enough recognizable emotions.
Yeah,
for Iron to play off of. There's just awkward staring going on.
Yeah, Iron Killer is trying to reach out with glamour weaving and, dream harvesting and trying to examine emotions, and this is probably the first time Iron Killer has ever been close enough to a ghost to really get the vibe. This is an insult, honestly, to the Fae. This isn't a person. This is a diet person. This is the LaCroix of souls. Where is the emotion? There's nothing here. All there is just the vaguest hint of somebody waved being hungry in the direction of this brain, and that's all that's left.
Someone already ate this one. Then why is there anything left?
Why is it still moving around? They already chewed on it. It's actively giving Iron Killer a sort of existential crisis, staring at it of how is this a thing? Wait, no, that's illegal. What is this? So the rest of the group just kind of very gently shepherds Iron Killer away, staring into space, back onto the road, away from the hungry ghosts. They left it perfectly.
All right. In order to salvage appearances, escalate to back up actual violence.
Okay, yes.
Just never mind. I can't converse with this. Gotta Gotta recover, gotta maintain flow. Punch ghost, launch ghost.
All right. Take a strike as Iron Killer, in emotional turmoil and confusion at having part of their very flexible but still vulnerable worldview destroyed, lashes out with a single fist towards the hungry ghost, directly into its mouth, which then bites down. And normally Iron Killer would just kind of like be like, ah, no, I have been disarmed, and then would eventually just kind of regrow it. But then you go through the script and the hand's not coming back. It's just stubbornly staying just amputated. This place sucks. This place sucks. I want to go home.
No, we can't go home yet. We have so many more sounds to find.
Like the horrible crunching noises that the hungry ghost is making trying to eat the piece of the Raksha, and honestly, the first bits of almost emotion that you see on the ghost's face is just, what is this? Not even joy or hunger or frenzy or any other thing, just confusion of, what? What is this?
Wait, aren't you immaterial? How are you chewing that?
Ghosts are not actually immaterial in the underworld, barring special conditions.
Fascinating. This is so different from home. But you're a ghost. That makes no sense.
And yeah, as pointed out in chat, the ghosts are having their own kind of reaction of, wait a minute, this is the LaCroix of meat. This isn't lifeblood. This is a cardboard sign saying lifeblood. What is this? I was promised meat, and I'm getting handed a sign that says imagine meat. So, as the crew goes forward, there is another sound off to the east, as there is a looming figure in the distance, about 20 feet tall or so, you would say, from the silhouette on the horizon. It's hard to tell because of the darkness of the underworld. To give a general idea of the terrain, because I realized I hadn't actually said that, this is mostly blasted out, ossified, and kind of rock-laden scrubland, where the scrub has almost entirely died out. This is rocky, blasted hill areas, and instead of a sky above, there is cave ceilings. Depending on where you go, this is not actually all entirely one open area. Some of the cave ceilings are much lower, some of the walls come up to touch the ceiling at some points. Otherwise, it's hills and valleys. It's a very disorienting and labyrinthine way of navigating the environment, but the Fae, if anything, are comfortable with that because it's disorienting from the perspective of how things should be laid out in creation, and to the Fae, it's just like, well, whatever. I've been through here. So, yeah, the options are investigate shape on horizon or continue to door of Mance.
Yes, we investigate. What kind of crazy... Yes, we're off.
Of course we're investigating. What do you think?
Yeah, I know. I was just letting you choose.
With one of his legs blown off, Fair Judge now only has 2 legs, so he's not running as fast.
Here, Fair Judge, why don't you I think Henry here can give you a piggyback ride, just to make this a little bit faster. Henry, come over here. Give him a piggyback ride.
Yes, and I am placed on top of Henry's skull.
On top of the rock, on top of Henry's skull.
Onwards!
Henry saunters forward, again, just in the sulking death march of emotion, as Mason in the background is beginning to think. And think, and think, before looking back at the manse and stroking its, well, I guess it's a beard today. Sometimes it's teeth. Now it's a beard. Now, I don't know if the dead of the mortals have powers as of the sort that we do, but normally such a large building would take, oh, I don't know, time? Some period of time. Some amount of sun rotations to create this, but from what I understand, again, getting out a book, the same giant book actually, and shifting pages to a chapter, and there are a set of pages, and on them is rough estimates of how big plus equals how much time, versus, like, shack equals, how much time. Just a very extremely envelope math assumptions of, like, how long does it take to do these things with normal human things as part of, a disguise. If a fae wants to live in society and make a house, you have to kind of piece it out, because a house coming up from the ground and overnight is going to be weird looking. Mason just kind of looks up at the book, looks back up. I don't think they made that normally. That would take way too many people to put those bricks in place.
So you're saying they made it unnormally? That's an illegal building.
That is an illegal building, perhaps, unless they have laws down here that make it legal. After all, we don't have illegal laws against that.
Curses. Someone take me to a library right now. I must do research.
But we're here, and if we're here, that means our laws apply.
Yes, it does, to an extent, although... I'm not sure what a library would look like down here. Perhaps that shape over there is a library. Let us
So
go
what you're saying
investigate.
is, whoever's in charge here is too lazy to put in all the work necessary to acquire what they possess.
Mason looks and very carefully weighs words. Potentially. Or they are capable of commanding others to put in the effort as an exert of their power.
Iron Killer has already walked away and is not listening to any
Yeah,
explanation
of course.
that doesn't let him restore his hubris.
So, by going over this way, let us look at the pools again. Wildcat, please roll me resist pushing the shiny red button, followed by resist getting someone else to push the shiny red button.
What pool is that?
5 and, well, actually, for you right now, that is 3 and you can't.
What's the thing I can't resist?
Well, you have successfully done the first thing, but now you cannot resist making someone else do the thing. So what happens is, as you are cresting the hill and looking over the side, you see that does look like a turtle. Kind of looks like a toad. You're not sure that either of them have metal skin, or like rocks, or like bolts, like hinges. Actually, that's a really weird looking turtle. You kind of want to.
Strangest turtle I've ever seen.
You kind of want to go like touch it while it's not looking at you, but you figure that touching it might get me in trouble. Last thing I touched blew up. What if somebody else touches it?
I'm going to point. I'm going to glare at the turtle, like a cat does when they glare at something meaningfully, but it's probably just them looking at the corner for no reason.
So yeah, select who is the character that you are trying to invoke into doing the stupid idea. Or otherwise, characters can volunteer to be the one.
I will be the one to go and touch the turtle
You
this
can
time.
touch the stove.
Look at all the sounds this thing could make. I want to see what it is.
Alright.
I'm going to go up and I'm going to poke the turtle a couple times and sing a soothing song as I do so.
Alright, roll me... roll me noticing anything subtle.
So my
which
bad
is
pool.
your 3, yes. Alright, so, miracle of miracles, you actually get up and notice that, wait a minute, this isn't made of meat. This is made of metal. This is made of rocks. This is made of rocks that are moving. And, like, bones, actually. A lot of bones. A whole lot of bones. Bones from probably different things, actually. This doesn't look like the normal sort of bones that you would be stapling together if you were a thing in creation. Like, this looks like something you would make. Well, the royal you. But maybe the actual you. This is weird. And as you are tapping it, there is a grinding of metal on metal as the head turns, and a glimmering light that you actually recognize as, you almost recognize as, oh, that's one of the element flavors of the Shapes Land. Of, wait, whoa, that's not the same flavor. That's different. That's weird. Something is wrong with that flavor. That's like somebody took the burning stuff and then, like, snuffed it out, but it didn't stop. As it is glimmering inside the eye of this thing and turning around slowly. What would the reaction be?
And Cantor, is that a library? Do they have books?
Let me ask. Hello! Do you have books or something? Are you pointing me in the direction of the books with that beautiful light? Here, let me get close enough to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I will walk to the light.
Oop.
Oh, well, that was the wrong thing to do. I'm sorry.
No. That was me fat fingering on that one. That was not the use of the X card. But so let us double check this. And you are walking directly in front of the face of the thing, yes?
If I'm going to speak with it, I must speak with it face to face. Here, hold on. I reach over and I grab Henry. Henry, show me the way here.
Henry actually walks backwards like, no. Like, actively defies you for what's like, nope.
But all right, fine. I will be face to face myself.
Crunch! The entirety of the encounter from the shoulders up is now in the mouth of the immense dragon turtle. I'm going to just say it. This is the War Strider. You have found the War Strider, and it is now chewing on Encanter. The Encanter now has one strike and is still stuck inside of its mouth.
Oh, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Cantor, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Cantor, a hole. Then mend it, dear Henry, then mend it, dear Henry, Henry, mend it. Damn it, I messed up the last bit.
There's something akin to a roar that echoes in from the inside of the bone and metal and stone, as there's just a thrashing back and forth, as though trying to break Encanter's spine or neck, as though Encanter had either of those, which serves to only make horrible cacophonous accordion noises as the body is just going every angle. Mandala crushing smile in the background is just looking at that. Do we want to stop this?
In seething pain, Encanter reaches deep inside a pocket and pulls out 2 drumsticks and starts to make a medley on the teeth.
Alright, roll your 5-die pool. It does stop in brief confusion. It does not actually seem to be doing damage, but it is just... What? It is like doing a threat assessment of it is stuck... Okay, what is this doing? No, nothing? Nothing. The jaws unhinge again, and Encanter drops to the ground, a large chunks just bitten deeply into the accordion assembly, as the War Strider now just stares down at the fair folk, just glimmering like embers within its eyes.
The judge, stuck on top of Henry, has been carried clear of this battlefield and is currently trying to yell and argue with Henry to go back.
Henry is bolting to the doors of the manse itself. Unexpected. The word comes out from the inside of the War Strider.
Hello?
What? How? It is
Do you
now.
have a name?
I do not give names to the Fey folk.
My name's Encanter. It's nice to meet you.
You either take me for a fool, or you are one.
But I don't know what a fool is. I'm from the Feywild. Everyone there is great. Is a fool something to eat?
It actually stops in certain situations. What are you doing here?
How warm is the War Strider?
Toasty.
I'm gonna start rubbing up on it.
Turn of the head. Cats. It turns and, like, immediately turns to very scrupulously examine you.
Merp.
Not their cat. But
They're like,
perhaps.
are they in like open vents? Where's the heat coming from? I want to get in there.
Alright, roll me just fuck shit up, which is now 5 dice because of your strike.
I need the warm.
Alright, so you were climbing all over it, and the bad news is that as you are on the shell, you are noticing that, there's a lot of custom work that looks like it's been done up here to whatever was originally the shape of this thing. The top of the shell appears to have had a whole bunch of really intricate diagrams and dots and, like, arcane imagery on it, and now it has largely been crossed out and changed. And Wildcat is not in the position to actually understand the nuances or inclinations of what has been changed or why.
We'll extend claws and just start scratching.
Your claws immediately break as they are trying to dig into a bone material that is strong enough to count as a magical material.
Ooh, scratch post.
Yeah, this is just a very nice scratching post that is nice and toasty, and the closest thing you can find to a vent is the extended barrel thing at the front.
No, I'm gonna go park in front of that. Just start, vibing. Pretty cool, big thing.
I want you to confirm out loud, are you crawling into the gun barrel?
Yeah. It's the warmest.
Alright.
It's a pretty good tube.
I'm just kind of shoving my head in there and sniffing.
A tube is a part of a house.
Is it roughly Wildcat shaped?
It's big enough to accommodate, and
Warm.
roll me 3 dice to try and avoid the consequences of what you just did.
Cool consequences. The tube's warm. The tube is warm, and that's great.
And that is why I asked for affirmative consent about what you were about to do, because that is a double botch, and you just crawled into a gun barrel.
Nice. Hell yeah, I'm ordnance.
So, as Wildcat is sniffing around, trying to examine the inside of the gun barrel, the last thing that Wildcat is able to see before utter annihilation within the underworld, which is beyond the ability of the Fae to reform, is a pair of glowing ember-like eyes in an ashen face. Like, not a skin that is like ashen, literally compressed and crushed ash. A human face that has glimmering embers looking down the barrel, sees something crawling in, and then ducks back down, and the last thing that Wildcat is able to comprehend is, it's getting really hot all of a sudden. Whoosh!
Too toasty.
And Wildcat is obliterated by an artillery-sized fire wand blast.
Congratulations.
I don't know what you were expecting from a cat.
Blade Pondering Sage, meanwhile, has been pacing around the outside of the War Strider, and as the gun goes off, mumbles, "Fascinating." Now, narratively speaking, Wildcat is dead. However, because Raksha are Raksha, and this is a test session, and I also don't want people to just fuck off for an hour or whatever, you can still make out of character and in character-ish suggestions. It's Wildcat's physical form and identity has been obliterated.
The idea of Wildcat, though.
Yeah.
He'll probably reform in a bit.
Well, no, actually, that is the problem down here, is the underworld means that you can't reform. However, so long as the ring of Raksha is intact, the idea of Wildcat is still around. So until everyone is dead, you can still
If
participate.
anyone makes it home, they might introduce someone else to the character of Wildcat.
Yes. Basically, so long as someone gets out of this alive, the character idea might come back, but left in a vacuum, Wildcat has been obliterated and
Look,
is
you gave me
now
a set of rules.
is
It's a
now
set
is is now kind of more a narrative construct in the minds of everyone else.
In Iron Killer's inner monologue, where he treats all of these people as his most highly respected compatriots and dearest friends, the ghost of Wildcat is there to be mourned and avenged.
Yes. As the rest of the hearth. Yeah, Wildcat is now the inner voice that tells you to touch the buttons. The War Strider is just paused and staring. Who sent?
What?
Why are you here?
I mean, we're here to check out that thing and point to the big building.
Then
Would you like to escort us there?
Sure. As like the moment you ask and there's the response, Henry actually stops and waits for the group to catch up as the War Strider shows that it is not just a very slow, ponderous tortoise animal. It is also very capable of going alarmingly fast, actually. Faster than any of the Raksha can go without busting out some of their usual moves. And as it is moving faster, has its legs extend out more towards like a crocodilian or like a toad-like stance. So the War Strider leads you to the front gates of the manse, at which point you are able to do an evaluation of the manse itself. Unfortunately, again, this is now in the NPC's hands because none of you picked any of them that would be able to evaluate the manse further. So, and yeah, I'm not even going to go into it because they don't get any useful information because they just kind of look at it and they go, damn, weird. The big pertinent information is that the front gates of the manse to the inner gate compound are huge. They are like 50 or 60 feet tall, and they are made of some sort of underworld rock. Like one like a bedrock material or something like that. Doesn't even have the proper dignity to be a metal door.
Shameful. Well, I'm gonna go knock on the door as I take my hammer and give a swing.
Alright, smash with hammer roll, please.
2 successes to knock on the door.
Let me in! Let me in! As the War Strider is just kind of sitting behind you all watching, and Henry is off to the side watching. Before eventually the doors slowly creak open. And you're able to tell, these doors are almost like 8 or 9 feet thick. These are ridiculously fortified doors. If this was a sort of thing where you were trying to go in by force, this would be a major undertaking. And the walls themselves are also easily that thick, if not thicker in the reinforced parts. So, just evaluating it, it's quite nice of them, actually, to knock the doors and let you in, because if you had to, like, siege this place, or, like, physically knock it down, man, you'd have to be really on something. You'd have to be a lot. And on the inside, Iron Killer, roll me threat assessment, please.
So, auto fail?
Oh, yeah, you've got a strike, so an auto fail.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Iron Killer looks inside and sees... You're not sure what you would describe it as there is a bunch of nerd bullshit just scattered everywhere, a bunch of buildings that don't take any sense. It doesn't even look like a proper fortress, it's all just arbitrarily placed places. Why is it like this? It's just a bunch of weird-ass nonsense. Like, why would you have a tower there? Why would you have an internal support structure over here? Like, all of this is, like, there's a watchtower that's facing a wall. All this looks stupid. It's nonsense. You could probably go in and kick the fucking... You could probably just kick a support beam out and this whole place would fall down.
Look, we have taken their castle, and now, as part of the rules of war, we may now loot.
As the group goes in, just roll me, you all have a strike now, so I would say it would be... Judge, you roll the 5d10 to try to find something of value.
I got the most strikes the quickest. That means I won, right?
Yes.
Yes!
Honestly, yes. You sped run the bad ideas, which, honestly, I was thinking you were, and Godspeed.
2 successes. Hey, this chair looks nice.
Alright, roll me a 3d10 as you try to pick up the chair and move it slightly out of position.
This would... Whoa, hang on a moment.
You, just barely, as your hands are settling on the chair, just get a full body premonition of just like, oh no, whoa, put it down, don't, back up, that chair's got a knife, that chair's got a gun, that chair is That chair means business. You don't know why, you don't know how, but if you mess with that chair's vibes, you would regret it, and you are certain of it. And as you were looking around at the things that Iron Killer has absolutely no idea about, it seems that everything that is oddly specifically in its place, if you knocked any of this out of place, you feel like it would have retribution against you. This is not a chaotic mess of just things around. This is a very carefully constructed defense grid.
Easy, everyone. The laws in this place are set in stone. We must not break the law. I smashed that chair with my hammer.
Alright.
2 successes!
You smash it with a hammer, and as you break it, there is this sudden lurching feeling in your gut. As the worst thing in the universe that you can possibly imagine happens to you. You break the chair with your hammer. Your hammer explodes.
Shit!
You now have 2 strikes.
Fair Judge is just balled up on the floor, quietly sobbing.
I walk over to Fair Judge, reach into my folds of my robe, and pull out a mallet I use to strike chimes and hand it to Fair Judge.
It's not your hammer, but it'll do.
Where are the stairs?
Inside in the center, as you are going in towards the 2 large towers that have a base on the inside, this is entirely a roofed compound. There is no way in from the air. As you are going inside, there is a central citadel that has a spiraling staircase that goes downward. There are also 2 staircases that go up the towers. So I'm presuming you would be just going towards stairs?
2 opposing directions of stairs. Dramatically climb stairs or dramatically descend stairs?
I will rule that this is something that you can get a 5 on if you want to roll to think about how dramatically appropriate either of these options are.
Which direction is this supposed to flow?
The underworld goes down. And you don't know how much is below you. While you have a concrete knowledge of how much is above you, there can only be so much up. But there's potentially infinite down. There's way more possibility to be interesting down.
Just loudly, menacingly strut over to top of stairs, slam the stump of the arm that got bit into the guardrail and just kind of drag it along, leaving behind this like smear of metal scale and slag in place of gore. And just go downstairs.
May I aid this feature?
Threateningly descend stairs.
Threateningly descend the Alright.
Wait, hold on. I want to make this even better. I open my mouth, and several more mouths are behind it, and I begin to do a vocal rendition of the only thing they fear is you.
Stunt and go fuck yourself. Hang on.
There you go.
So you all just start descending the stairs in very imposing, menacing ways, as your good friend Skeleton decides to keep up the rear, and the war machine theoretically could actually get into this interior compound by the size of the doors, but definitely is just staying outside on this one. As you are descending the staircase, one thing that stands out to you immediately is that every couple of landings there is a door, and no other anything on the landing, just a door further inward, but the stairs keep going down, and you can see more doors posted at the landings, and you can't actually see all the way to the bottom. It's going for a while. So, would you take one of the doors on the landings, or just keep walking down?
Get bored of descending stairs if no one is responding to the descending of stairs, and just stop and kick open a door.
Alright, and let us see what one of the environmental problems you are about to find. Seven. And let's double check what that is in my fortress notes. Oh boy, okay. So, you are now inside what appears to be some sort of laboratory. There are pipes and alembics and alchemical materials everywhere. There is an absolute assault of smells upon you, as there are diagrams of small buildings that are in modular positions to move them around, with flows of liquids around them that look like they're probably modeling essence flow in a visible form. And this is just an overwhelming sensory blast of all sorts of wild nonsense. At which point, Blade Pondering Sage is going to walk up and try and do something. Oh boy. So Blade Pondering Sage goes up and does one of the riskiest things in the room. And goes up and starts to try and mess around with the model towns. And is just curious as to like, oh, well, if you can just move these around, then clearly moving them around does something. And upon moving them into a certain position, you can start to hear mechanisms in the walls move. And as Blade Pondering Sage is beginning to look up and consider this, and think about it, and just go, well, that's a problem, the liquid within the model, apparently having had been constructed wrong, sprays an acid into Blade Pondering Sage's face. And beyond the face, and the whole head. And, oh, Blade Pondering Sage is dead.
What?
The puzzle resets itself into its original position as the Fae just literally melts into a pile of gossamer and slag as the failure state just hoses it down with some sort of incredibly powerful solvent.
Crawl into
Rip.
the gun barrel. It's fine.
If Cat were here, they'd know what to do. With remaining hand, just wind up and slap a random flask off of a table into a bunch of other random flasks. Yes!
I'm glad
This-
that we're rolling dog shit tonight.
This dice bot has been on brand for... This is the most botches we have ever rolled in a session.
Iron Killer, no.
Yes!
I loved him. Them.
No, the Iron Killer is only on one strike so far. This is going to be strike 2. So, as the flask is slapped, there's the immediate first impression of, huh, that actually felt like, what? What, is that glamour? Is that, wait, no, that's blood. That's living blood. That's like blood that's still alive. That's like animated. And as it smashes down and starts mingling with the other flasks and falls into the alembic piping, it is piped up into the room and up into the walls into one of the rooms beyond the initial laboratory wing. And you begin to hear shattering glass as, like, large tubes full of liquid burst open. At which point, strange, large creatures, mutated and maligned and horribly warped by something. They look like they are exactly between alive and dead, neither of them at the same time, but have been just warped and twisted by exposure to wood essence, just slammed in every direction, trying to do something to them. Lunges out and pounces on top of Iron Killer, and Iron Killer is now on strike 2.
Fair judge is going to decide if they care. Nope, they're bored. They left.
Further into the lab or back to the stairs?
Absolutely. We're going further down those stairs.
Alright, so you have left and you are going down the stairs. Iron Killer, you are pinned down.
I have taken Henry with me.
I'll stick with Iron Killer then. I walk over and with my double guitar swing it like a golf club and try to knock the thing off of Iron Killer.
Alright, go ahead and roll.
So 3 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You smash the creature in its vaguely reptilian head, and it reflexively reaches up and grabs its head in pain, getting Iron Killer the opportunity to scramble out from beneath it as it is reeling. But the glass is continuing to shatter, and more of the hunched-over creatures are beginning to lurch out of the back lab. This may be a situation where you want to leave.
And Cantor reaches down, grabs Iron Killer, and pulls them up. Time to go. Let's go downstairs. Come on, quick.
Iron Killer will be screaming profanity, but not able to avoid
Back it
getting
up.
dragged along.
Hold me back! Hold me back! Yes, I will hold you back.
Iron
Let's go
Killer
downstairs
can now only brag and threaten, and nothing else.
Yep. So
Wait.
now the slow descent down the stairs is a desperate, screaming, running chase from totally not hunters down the stairs. As they are just, like, clattering on all fours and claws behind you, leaping down multiple flights of stairs to try and jump in front of you as you run past and around. Until you, out of desperation, because the stairs won't fucking end, smash down another door. Oh, boy.
Yes.
Alright, so you smash down the door and run in, and as everybody is piling in, just slam the door clean shut. And the aura changes as the I appreciate the textual representation of Fey profanity being multiple linguistic symbols. The vibe changes dramatically as now you're not sure how and where you are, but it is now cold. And the general layout of the manse thus far, having been pretty barren, black rock and load-bearing metals and soul steel, kind of has entirely stopped and is a vague, ultra-dense obsidian sort of alloy. And the room you are in is a long path down a hallway of this kind of bored out tunnel, and out forward in the distance is a pit. A very deep pit. If YouTube would cooperate for a moment. So right now it is just a very barren hallway as you walk forward. And what would the investigation of the pit, how would it go? What would you be doing investigating the room?
I believe Encanter's going to walk up to the pit, looking over the list of stuff they have. And because the acoustics in this room are so fantastic, they're just going to start shouting into the pit at various pitches to hear the different fonts and styles of music that play throughout the pit and the tone pitches.
All right, go ahead and roll. As you begin to scream down into the endless pit, you start hearing noises echo up out of it, and at first it's your own voice. And then it's other voices. Whispering at first, then growing louder and louder. And they kind of make your everything itch to listen to. And right as they are starting to really unsettle you, you begin to hear a slow tapping of feet down the hallway behind you. And who would be the first person to turn around and look?
I'm too busy shouting in the hole.
Alright, would Iron Killer do it, or would the judge do it? Or
I think this falls to Judge. I have like one remaining
Yeah.
idea for a thing for Iron Killer to do.
Alright, actually no, I still have a sacrificial NPC to do this, and this is a
Also.
3-strike situation, so
Yep.
I will have the last Mason turn around to look and be the first person to lay eyes, because, again, everybody else can look, but it is the first person to catch attention that gets the problem. Turning around, you see a figure approaching you that is physically intact, but still has an aura of ephemerality around him. He has a long, trailing, what almost looks like leather, but more kind of stitched together and cross-hatched coat. And a pair of dark smoked glasses that, when you look at the metal wiring on them, has soul steel woven into the entire thing.
Oh, Dan! You can't do this to me!
I've been threatening this for months! His hair is slicked back, and behind the glasses is a dim red glow. Well, this is a surprise. I didn't expect intruders to get this far down before I realized. Although it seems that you have not gotten here unscathed.
That's your best DC, Douglas?
Look, man, I didn't have the time to fully warm it up, and I didn't listen to the whole thing. I can ramp it up.
No, it's alright, it's alright.
Also, being quiet about it is a more difficult impression.
Yeah, that's hard.
Being loud DC Douglas is a lot easier. As the figure walks forward, Mason stands and is ready to say something before the figure just raises a hand and flicks it. And Mason just quite literally unravels. The threads of essence that make up the body of the Mason just discorporate. They are unwoven into constituent pieces and fall to the ground as threads that dissolve into the ground silently. There is no grand, immense, dramatic explosion or horrible screaming torture. There's just a casual flick of the wrist and he's gone.
Sir, I demand you return our compatriot immediately.
You are in no position to make demands.
I am here under the accordance of the Fey realm. You will listen to me about this and return my compatriot immediately, and we will leave forthwith.
That's the best argument that you have.
Yes, that's why I picked it. What else? Why would I not pick that?
Let me guess, as it's turning its eyes to Mandala crushing smile. A certain group of dragons sent you, yes? Mandala crushing smile just shrugs and nods as like, yeah, why would I not say that? There is a sigh. You leave me at an interesting impasse. On the one, I could simply eliminate you, and I could throw you into the pit. And I could let the Neverborn take care of you. But it is abundantly clear that you are here on the orders of someone else. And therefore, perhaps your destruction is what they desire. No, I have a better plan with what to do with you. And he just cracks his neck and rolls his fingers and cracks his knuckles. And roll me 3d10 Incanter to try and resist what is about to happen.
It's an awfully wonderful sound you're making with your knuckles.
You got the right noise in the end there. Good work.
Yeah, no, before the next time the Weaver comes into play, I will actually sit down and listen to a voice reel. I'm going off memory
Just
right now.
say Ouroboros a couple of times and you get it.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is all that I have to play with you. There we go. That's the tone of voice.
Sibilance, Chris.
Anyway. All right.
1 to 10, baby. That's all I needed.
No, it's not. The incanter notices, like, the last thing the incanter sees is the puff of dark smoke where the figure had been standing. Everyone else sees another puff of dark smoke in front of the incanter, as a hand has just reached out to the neck of the incanter, a fist now wrapped around the neck, and instead of twisting to break the neck or pulling out, it's just squeezed all the way in. And the neck is less broken, and it is more like, actually, I have a Foley for this. A crushed can. The vocal cords in the neck have been completely shattered, and instead of being thrown into the pit, the limp corpse of the incanter is thrown casually over the Weaver's shoulder. Oh yes, I have such plans to do with wild energy that just walks in here on its own 2 legs. Unsullied by the underworld or creation, a direct delivery. Such a kindness they have given me.
Judge is already flying through the air, hammer in hand, at the Weaver's face.
Well, the hammer's broken, isn't it?
I got
the mallet from the incanter.
Back
Oh,
up,
yeah, right.
Tiny hammer.
This is for my friend!
Snatch! As the small figure of the judge is literally just caught between 2 fingers and dangled in front of the Weaver's face. Don't lie, you don't have friends.
There is, from the camera's perspective, a lot of very tiny, inaudible, high-pitched yelling going on. Like in a cartoon.
The Weaver reaches into one pocket, pulls out a vial, uncorks it, drops the tiny judge in, and bottles it before putting it back in the coat. Now then, the boastful one. Tell me, your name was Iron Killer, if I heard correctly, yes?
You folks like asking questions down here. How about you answer one of mine? Just what exactly do you think you're made of? And Iron Killer will start glowing and heating up and making a lot of rising sound as though he had a self-destruct ready to go as a final desperation move.
Yes! Stunt! Go ahead and get 2 extra dice on that.
Just distraction, go!
A volatile. Yes, I can find quite a few uses for that. And grabs by the collar and lifts up before punching a hand into where the heart would be and pulling out a chunk of rust. As it is beating, and the husk of Iron Killer just collapses to the ground as the actual Iron Killer, the core, is now in his hand. Oh, you are going to make some things much more interesting. Before also, just having it in hand, finally turning to Mandala Crushing Smile. Well then. Would you say that listening to the princes of the earth was worth it? Mandala Crushing Smile maintains the smile placidly. What on earth is so funny? Mandala Crushing Smile just nods. Do what you will. As I can't speak for my compatriots, but I have already won. This insufferable nonsense again. Fine. As just literally grabs Mandala by the smile and peels the mouth off before unripping it, taking the teeth and plunging it into Mandala's neck and shredding him open to let a cascade of wild glamour pour out onto the ground in his feet as it saturates the stone. As he looks to himself with the beating heart, the vial, the corpse. Yes. A much-needed introduction of dynamism to my defenses. I believe that my plans for the War Strider will be considerably accelerated by this one. Ah.
Which means that Wildcat is the only one whose remains did not end up in the laboratory.
Yes.
That'll be a fun trump card for later. Aha! Being a mindless jackass saves the day again!
So, in fact, you can say Suna won this.
Legitimately, yes. The end game of this was Weaver wanted to capture all of the Raksha to use their essence, and Suna was the only one in a position where they're unusable.
You did it. You did
Mission
it, Sana.
accomplished.
So, yeah, that is the end of this mini session of previews. Is the defenses around the area are quite intense. The inside has puzzles that will not be merciful if you mess them up. And by God's name, don't let the Weaver find you until you're ready to see him. Next time, back to our usual programming and worrying, well, not worrying, absolutely we're not worrying about anything to do with what happens when you give a bunch of noble fae souls and essence to a Death Lord in the middle of the underworld with no other sort of interfering essence patterns. It'll be fine. He can't do anything weird with that, right? It's not like they've ever done any collaborations with fae before. Also, I deliberately didn't say what happened to Henry. Henry is a mystery. We may return to Henry.
Next time?
Next time.